Hey everybody, my name is Celeste Mott and welcome to my channel. I'm so happy you're here. Some of you may know me as Tarot by Celeste on Instagram. I've been a tarot card reader and a intuitive healer and a practicing witch and occultist since I was about 12 or 13 years old. So I've been doing this for a while. But I've been really excited to branch out into YouTube. It's been on my to-do list probably since about December of last year, and I finally managed to sit down and get it done. So I'm really excited to see you today and to share with you my pick a card reading for the month of September 2019. If you're not familiar with tarot and the way tarot cards work, I will eventually make a video explaining the history of the cards, how they're used for divination or fortune telling, where they came from, where some of the most iconic artwork comes from, and how they got into this Western healing tradition. But essentially tarot cards have been used for hundreds of years, both as a parlor game and as a tool to tell your future, to give you a sense of control and guidance, and to help you make good decisions in your life. There is nothing inherently scary or haunted or occult about the cards. They're just a tool to help people make good choices and move towards prosperity and abundance and healing and happiness and all those kinds of things we want for ourselves. If you've never done a pick a card reading or you've never had a tarot reading before, I'm going to give you a quick rundown on how it works. Essentially, a pick a card reading gives you a set of options to choose from, a couple of different card piles that you can pick. And the idea is that you clear your mind, take a deep breath, and focus on your question or your energy right now. What do you want to know? And as you meditate on that, you're going to select for yourself which pile of cards really speaks to you. Something I really like to do in my readings, whether that's for one-on-one clients or via the internet, is focusing on strengths and challenges. Why? Because the future is not static, it is not set in stone, and there are decisions that you can make that will change what happens over the course of the next month. Is every single person who wants to watch this video and picks pile 1 gonna have the exact same stuff happen to them? Of course not, that's ridiculous. So instead what we're gonna look at is your strength for the coming month and your challenge for the coming month. What can you expect? What kind of scenarios and occurrences might be blessings for you this month? What's going to work out for you? And what might be a little bit more difficult? What should you keep your eyes open for and maybe avoid if you can? So it's really all about making choices that empower and uplift you rather than making choices that you find challenging or keep you stuck, trapped, and constrained. We want growth, we don't want constriction. You can skip ahead. I'm going to put the timestamps in the description of this video. So without further ado, I'm going to give you a selection of cards to pick from. Take a deep breath, make your selection, and we'll get right into the reading. This is pile 1. This is pile 2. And on the end, we have pile 3. Take a deep breath, clear your mind, and when you're ready, make your selection. If you picked pile 1, your strength card for the coming month is the 9 of Cups. This is a beautiful card. Tarot cards proceed in the minor arcana from an ace, which is usually a new beginning or a fresh start, right up to a 10, which is kind of the top whack, the best possible energy that you can get, the fullest manifestation of that suit. So the 9 is pretty good, as you can imagine. You're almost there. You're almost at a 10. Not quite. It's a 9. So the 9 of Cups is about fulfillment. It's about feeling like you've found your group, your people, a set of folks who you resonate with and feel you belong with, essentially kind of a family. The key to the 9 of Cups is this idea that your family is people you choose. It is not necessarily the people that you happen to be born into. It's more about energy that you're selecting rather than blood, rather than lineage. What I like about the 9 of Cups is it's really this idea about support and harmony and feeling held. No matter how quirky you are, no matter how different you are, no matter how weird your interests might be, the 9 of Cups is saying September for you really is going to be a month where you feel like you are supported. You are loved. You are being accepted regardless of the choices you're making or the path that you want to go down, even if that's a little bit divergent or a little bit odd. So if the past couple of months has felt a little stuck for you, if you've maybe been changing who you are spending time with, really weeding out the people who aren't uplifting you and deciding, actually I'm going to spend some more time with these people because these people seem to really get me, really understand me, then the Nine of Cups is saying, good job, continue that process, weed your garden. And as we move into further into Virgo season, which is really all about structure and organization, try and make time for the people who are pushing you in good directions. Friendships, family relationships, any kind of connection, it doesn't have to be 100% harmonious all of the time to be healthy and good for you. In actual fact, you will probably find as you move through your life that the people you surround yourself with who are super blasé and thumbs up about everything, regardless of what you're doing, those people actually aren't the most supportive people. They're not the best folks to have in your life. And once you change tacks or you decide you want to live your life a little bit differently, those yes men or yes folk are usually the people who start dropping away the fastest because they want a version of you. They don't want the you that is in transit and in growth and in expansion. So the Nine of Cups also, I think, indicates for you that the biggest strength this month comes from doing that work, weeding out the people who are starting to fall away or drift apart because you're not the you used to be, and starting to draw in people who are about it. They're excited to see what you do next. They're excited to hear your opinions, even if they're different opinions, even if they're a little bit quirky. I don't want to say biological family doesn't matter. Of course it does. And those of us who potentially have family relationships that are strong and powerful and uplifting, we're so, people like that are so blessed. It's so beautiful when you have that in your biological family, but it's not a reality for a lot of people. And so start thinking broader about who you allow in, who is your circle, who are your people, and make time for them, even if it means sometimes needing to let go of other folks so that there is time in the schedule to do it. Or interestingly, pile one people, your challenge energy is also a cup card, and it is the Two of Cups. This is pretty interesting, y'all. So the Two of Cups is a card that people get really jazzed about when they see it because it does carry this reputation for being the soulmate card and the card of connecting with your one true person and your perfect relationship and sort of meeting and falling in love with and nurturing a connection with the person of your dreams. It's a great card. A+, love it. And I want to be clear too, the tarot is limited sometimes in its scope. If you get a book from the library about tarot or you look it up online, you're going to find a lot of binaries, male and female stuff, light and dark stuff, pentacles being about money and cups being about love, romantic love only, and things like that. That's really not how this works. When we say the Two of Cups and I say soulmate, I mean the person you connect with most. And maybe that's a romantic partner. Maybe that's someone that you feel passionate about. Maybe it's your best friend. Maybe it's your mom. Maybe it's your cat. I mean, we all have different criteria for who we want to connect with on a deep and vulnerable level. That's what the Two of Cups is about. It's about that most vulnerable connection, that most healing connection. So it might strike you as odd that a card like the Two of Cups, which really is a very beautiful card of connection and vulnerability and communion, well, why on earth would that be a challenge and not a strength? If you've got this beautiful Nine of Cups energy that you're leaning into, this wonderful idea of community and family, then why on earth is your soulmate not on the same page? What's that about? So it is a curious energy to see come up as somebody's challenge. If you are partnered, if you are in any kind of deep relationship with someone at the moment, and again, that could be romantic, that could be platonic, but if there's someone that you consider to be your person, the person that you really share everything with, the kind of foundational relationship in your life, strap in a little bit because I do think that you'll find September is a more difficult month for that relationship. Now, what does this mean? Doesn't mean you're going to break up with someone. Doesn't mean you're going to get abandoned. No, hold your horses. All it means is that for connections to be healing and authentic and vulnerable, it's necessary for them to be in a state of change. When we fall into patterns with people and we start repeating cycles with people, then things can get stuck. And you see this very clearly in, married relationships oftentimes, or really long-term partnered relationships. If you talk to anybody who's been married for 40 years or 50 years and they have a happy, successful marriage, they're going to tell you, oh boy, yeah, it's been like this. And we've had to do work to get through those, ups and downs, to learn each other, to continue growing together, to make sure the relationship is healthy. Anybody who tells you that they've had a 40, 50 year marriage and have never once had a fight and everything's been peachy the whole time, friends. So with the Two of Cups being your challenge energy this month, you are going to want to look out for stumbling blocks in your closest relationship or relationships. When I'm saying that, what I'm talking about is make sure, if you want to avoid these stumbling blocks, or if you want to get over the ups and downs and move toward a place of growth and happiness with your person, make sure that you're being authentic. Make sure that you're being vulnerable. Make sure that there's honesty there. If you hit a snag, if you hit a pothole in the relationship, whether that's about something as stupid as not doing the dishes, or whether it's about something heavier, then make sure you're taking time out to talk to that person about whatever it is, to really be candid with them and to tell them what you want. And I think this is key, particularly with your strength being the Nine of Cups, this beautiful energy of being supported and this energy of feeling like people have your back. That's all about having safety. I want you to think about your closest connection, or the person that you're putting the most energy into, and ask yourself, is that connection in this moment, right now as you're listening to this video, is that connection safe? Do you feel safe in that relationship? Do you feel supported? Do you feel heard? Do you feel like you can say to that person what you're thinking and what you're feeling? That they will accept you, even if you say something a little bit weird or a little bit quirky, that they will at least listen. And do you feel like you can give that to them? If you have a partner or a friend and they come to you with something totally wacky and unexpected, they disclose to you something that you just think is way out of character and you can't imagine where it's coming from, can you honestly say that you love that person enough and support that person enough that you would be willing to work through that? Or have you hit a point in that connection? Again, whether it's a friend, best friend, family member, romantic partner, have you hit a point in that relationship where there are deal breakers now, where there are things that you could not or would not accept? And I'm not offering any judgment here either way. It's good to have boundaries. It's very important to, I think, have some deal breakers, to know where the line in the sand is. But for the Two of Cups to come up as your challenge, this is also about organizing those boundaries internally and being willing to tell your person what the boundaries are. Not fair to set a line in the sand only after someone has disclosed something to you. Way better to be vulnerable about it and tell someone what the limits are before you get to that point. Friends who picked pile 2, your cards for September 2019 are the Eight of Wands as your strength and the Six of Pentacles as your challenge. And I so love that the Lovely Omens deck has cats as the pentacle suit because pentacles are all about feeling grounded and feeling comfortable. It's about material comfort. And I can't think of anything that makes me feel more comforted and more at home than kicking back in bed and petting my 2 cats. So that's kind of perfect. So the Eight of Wands as your strength. Whoo, friends. Get ready for a really busy, really productive September. As we move into fall, as we get further into Virgo season and away from some of the dynamic, chaotic, crazy energy of Leo season, we really are looking at most people leaning into that energy favorably and really getting down to business, sorting things out, scheduling, organizing, planning, and feeling a little bit more focused and a little bit more clear-minded. And that's certainly the case for you with the Eight of Wands. Wands in the tarot talk about ideas, passions, ideals, the sort of generative force that gets you out of bed in the morning, the thing you care most about. And so it's a little bit hard sometimes to pin wands down for people. You know, it's a little easier to say, well, pentacles are money and health, and cups are love, and swords are your thinking brain, they're your intellect and facts and things like that. It's a bit harder with wands. Wands are different for everybody because everybody has a different drive. It's your kind of first spark of inspiration before you actually make a plan, before you actually get down to business. So I like that. I think that's a good way to look at it. And eights are really expansive, fast-moving energies. It's about work. It's about drive. It's about taking things further and getting things done. And so if you felt stuck in your passion, whatever that is, for the past couple of months, if you've really felt like you started out 2019 with a to-do list as long as your arm, and you were gonna write your novel, and you were gonna make sure all your kids were getting A's in every subject, and you were gonna get back in shape, whatever that means for you, you know, and really crush your goals, lift heavier weights, or, you know, hit certain milestones in terms of your studies, whatever it is that you were hoping to accomplish. If you feel like you've gotten to this point in the year and we're almost to the end of the year and you're looking at that list and thinking, bah, because if so, I relate. What I want you to remember is the year is not done, we are not over, and even if the year was done, time is a construct. It's meaningless. What you're looking at now is a lot of things taking off very quickly. And the beautiful thing about the Eight of Wands is that it is dynamic and it is powerful and it is opportunities slapping you in the face every 2 seconds, doors opening for you, lots of movement and momentum. The downside of the Eight of Wands is that with so many things up in the air, when you're juggling so much stuff, it can be a little bit difficult to know where everything's going to land. You look at somebody who has, say, a really high-powered full-time job. Say they're a CEO and they've managed to get their life down to really just focusing on that one thing. You know, they don't have a family and they don't really worry about their health or their wellness, and they don't worry about their spiritual life. What they're concerned about is the job as the CEO and the bottom line and making their money. And that's their focus. And so even though they have a high-powered job, they've got kind of like one major thing, one major stream that they're focusing on. That is a lot easier to do than folks who have maybe a less stressful, less high-powered job, but like 9,000 different things they want to accomplish. They want to be the best mom. They want to, you know, they want to be the best mom. They want to start a YouTube channel. They want to, you know, have flawless makeup every day and also write a novel at some point, and hey, also they're singing in their church choir and that's really important too, but they're also holding down a 9-to-5 job. People like that, who I know personally, few people like that, and I am just constantly in awe of their superpowers. They find it harder, I think, to stick to a regular schedule that ensures that every single thing that they have on the boil will pan out according to plan. And so really what we're looking at with the Eight of Wands is a lot of expansion for you this month, is a lot of opportunity, is a lot of growth, but it's also encouraging you to kind of let go of the need for control. When you are in a state of momentum, like the Eight of Wands predicts, you don't really have the luxury of knowing exactly how things are going to go or being able to give people an exact timeline for when something will be done. Your schedule is in flux constantly and things are changing, and you do have to account for that. You have to give yourself a break and accept that rigid control does not allow for expansion. So, as much as I'm giving you a kind of warning that you don't want to bite off way more than you can chew, and when opportunities pop up this month, while it will be wonderful if you say yes to some of them, you do need to be realistic about what you can follow through on. What I'm also telling you is, chill out a tiny bit. I know it's Virgo season, but you don't have to hit every milestone exactly when or exactly how you told yourself you were going to. You're allowed to move at your own pace. Things are picking up. You're gonna be busy as heck anyway. Calm yourself. Let's talk about your challenge. This little 6 of Pentacles, these 6 little curled up cats that we have before us. 6s are about balance and they're about harmony. So if this card were to come up in your strengths and the energy you want to lean into, I would kind of say to you, awesome, this is fantastic. You know, Pentacles talk about the material world, the things that you can touch and taste and feel around you. They do tend to talk about money for that reason, but they also talk about your body, they talk about your physical health, and they deal with the concrete world. And I've said before on Instagram and on my Instagram TV channel that spiritual practitioners often want to ignore the material world. We want to tell you a lot of the time that that's not even important. And if you just do what you love, and if you just like meditate every day, and if you just, you know, learn how to be in flow with your body, then, you know, money will appear from somewhere, I guess. It'll work out, it's fine. And I'm not going to sit here and BS you about that. Money does not grow on trees. It is important, and your material reality is very vital to your spiritual wellness. Your material reality is what holds the spirit. You know, your body might just be a vehicle for your soul, but it's still important to maintain it and take care of it. So, not the greatest thing in the world, maybe, to see the 6 of Pentacles, balance for the material, as your challenge. What this means for you this month is that you need to be extra careful that you are taking care of all of this, that you are keeping an eye on your living situation and your finances and what you're putting in your body and how much you're moving your body. And again, this is different for everybody because everybody's got different limitations and restrictions and, you know, things that work for them and things that don't. I would love to be able to give you the answer, like the perfect diet and the perfect exercise regime, but that's very, you know, very much an erasure of people with, you know, different ability levels and dietary restrictions and food allergies. So I'm not going to give you the answer to that. You've got to figure that out on your own. What I am saying is that in the midst of all this busyness and all these opportunities coming your way creatively and professionally and in terms of the goals you want to accomplish, please don't forget that you live in a body. Please don't forget that bodily maintenance is also important. And bodily maintenance, I'm sorry to tell you, includes rest. It includes sleeping enough. It includes downtime where you don't look at your emails or look at your phone or keep your brain in constant overdrive, because that is the issue with the 8 of Wands as well. We let it spiral, we let it get out of control, and not only can we not control where things are going and how they're going to land, we work ourselves into a frenzy while we panic about where things are going. So the 6 of Pentacles is reminding you that balance is essential, and balance includes attention to the material. Paying attention to the material is not necessarily reloading your bank account every day and freaking out because the balance is not where you want it to be. Attending to the material is not necessarily making yourself some crazy rigid meal plan that doesn't allow you enough time to, you know, change your plans from time to time. Because hey, with the 8 of Wands, there will be a lot of changes in your schedule. There will be a lot of last minute conflicts and last minute rearrangements. So for heaven's sake, don't bite off more than you can chew this month and start like an absolute no carb, no sugar diet and oh my god, I have to stick to this very rigidly or else my life will fall apart. Don't do that. But do adopt an approach that allows for gentle balance and allows you to pay attention to the body, the household, the things around you that you can touch, as well as the ideas that you're having. All right, my pile number 3 people, your reading is ready, and we are looking at 2 really gentle cards for your strength and your challenge. I know it's a weird thing to say, but after all the craziness of 2019, because it does appear to have been absolutely bananas for just about everybody I've ever spoken to, it's nice to see strengths and challenges that are minor arcana, that are a little bit more malleable and easy to shift and easier to deal with. Major arcana energy is awesome, but it can be a lot. So I'm pleased. I'm pleased for you that this is a little gentler. Your strength card, the energy you want to lean into or do more of or embody, is the Page of Cups. Pages are messengers. They're the sort of smallest tier energy of the 4 court cards in each tarot suit. And they talk about exchanges of ideas, opportunities, messages coming to you, and sometimes messages that you're going to deliver. And the Page of Cups specifically is emotional messages. It's things that you are going to confide in people or tell people, and things people are going to tell you that are of a more connective, emotional nature. Sometimes people simplify cups in the tarot when they tell you that they're all about love, and specifically romantic love. And while that can be the case for sure, I think it's overly simplistic to reduce this energy to that. Really what we're talking about is the month of September being a connective month for you, a month where you want to focus a little bit more on the social aspects of your life and a little bit less on work and on stress and on individual concerns. This is a very outward focused energy. It's about communicating and receiving communication in return. And I will say, although this is not a romance reading, and we will probably do one of those in the next week or so, so watch out for that, I will say that the Page of Cups is often about messages of love. It is often about receiving communications from people who have feelings for us, very deep, profound feelings, people who want to connect on that more intimate and vulnerable level. So, for you single Pringles out there, I would say that September is going to be a really nice, productive, pleasant month. Is this meeting your soulmate and being absolutely swept off your feet and, plunged immediately into this very intense soulmate energy? No. But that's probably for the best right now, because you got some stuff you've got to resolve and settle before you're ready to drop yourself into some crazy ocean of lust and love and romance. This is a smaller, more chilled out energy, but I like it. It's very pleasant, it's very calm, it's very grounded, despite being this watery energy of a cup. So watch for communications where people are looking to connect. And the Page of Cups is subtle. Like I said, it's not being hit over the head by somebody who you just can't get out of your mind and you can't stop thinking about. It's not that tier of energy. It's much more likely to be someone who connects with you because you have something in common or because something you've said resonates with them. It's much more likely to be a kind of cute interaction in a coffee shop or somebody messaging on Facebook and saying, hey, I saw you post in this meme group and you said this really funny, cute thing. What's up? Let's have a conversation. I like it. It's chill. It's not intense. It's very nice. For those of you who are not single or not looking for anybody in a romantic context for whatever reason, I would say the Page of Cups is just telling you that you are still best placed to focus on connecting with other people this month. And it doesn't really have to be the onus on you to do that connecting, but the onus is on you to listen when people are trying to bridge a gap. I would say that the Page of Cups for me is much more about connecting in new ways or with new people than it is about resolving conflicts or welcoming people back into your life. If you do have some folks that you have a bit of a rift with, that you're not sure if it's worthwhile mending that rift, the Page of Cups doesn't speak specifically to that interaction, but it does suggest that if people are attempting repeatedly to connect, if it's safe for you to do so, you maybe owe it to them to at least listen and hear them out. There is not really an inherent healing energy about the Page of Cups, but there is vulnerability and there is honesty. I think if you do have folks that you're hoping to repair things with in September, the very least that I can say is that when they connect, they will be being authentic with you. There's not deceit, there's not manipulation, at least not intentionally. So that kind of bodes well for folks who want to heal things, but really you want to be more focused on fresh starts, fresh connections. There are plenty of people coming into your life this month who deserve your attention more than the folks who've disappointed you time and time again. Which brings us kind of neatly to your challenge card, because as you're in this energy of connection and harmony and balance, as you're in this place of wanting to explore new avenues with new people and potentially wanting to do some healing in the more strained relationships in your life. When we're in that state, it is really hard to think clearly and to hold tight to our boundaries. So your challenge energy is the King of Swords. And the King of Swords is, oddly enough, a double-edged sword. Swords are the only suit that we haven't really talked about in this reading at all for any of the piles of cards. And swords are your intellect, they're your thinking brain, they're your practicality and your rationality. And the King of Swords employs a very rigid worldview when it comes to what he thinks of as true and not true. There's not a lot of room for shades of gray with the King of Swords, and he can be a little bit too firm when it comes to the boundaries he sets. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, boundaries are important. Boundaries are amazing. Once you kind of learn how to have healthy boundaries with people, I think it's a real game changer for all the relationships in your life. However, when we have been hurt or when we have been traumatized, our internal compass for what a good boundary looks like kind of goes out the window. We have absolutely no idea anymore what is a safe, flexible boundary and what is a harmful, flexible boundary, because every single time that we've employed a little bit of flexibility with the people in our lives, it is blown up in our face. And so we tend to double down and we tend to get into this very tyrannical, kingly state where we're looking at the relationships in our lives or the really anything in our lives, our finances, our health, our diet, our schedule, whatever it is, and we are rigid in needing to cling to schedules and norms and boundaries. There is no room whatsoever to let any flexibility in, because if we do, we're terrified that it's going to end badly like it's ended badly before. So why is the King of Swords your challenge? Well, I think as you start wanting to connect, as you start getting these wonderful opportunities to connect, you're going to encounter people who push your buttons a little bit. Why? Because the universe is kind of a jerk sometimes, but also because the universe likes us to grow. It doesn't like us to stay still. We are in a state of being limited because of past trauma, or we are in a state of being constrained because we're trying too hard to control things that really we can't control. If our boundaries are so strong that they've actually become walls, or worse yet, fortresses keeping people out, then yeah, the universe is going to bring you a whole lot of people who are going to push your buttons, and you're going to have to figure out, oh heck, is this a red flag, or am I just being super triggered right now? Is this something I need to worry about, or am I just internalizing some stuff that happened in a past relationship that I'm projecting onto this new person who wants to connect with me? This is all heavy stuff, y'all, and it's something that I might, again, talk about in a future video. It's something that I've done a lot of writing on if you look back over my Instagram, because I do think it's something that a lot of us experience, male, female, non-binary, we all go through it, because most of us have some form of trauma, and it's very hard not to get activated around that trauma and to have what are, or were at one point healthy boundaries, supercharged by all this hurt that we're holding in. So with the King of Swords, I really want you to be very deliberate and cautious when it comes to interacting with other people this month. If you're feeling tight about it, if you're feeling activated around a subject that's being talked about, or because of something that someone said or did, instead of knee-jerk reacting to it and putting that wall up, I want you to take a step back, put your phone away, put your computer down, go to the bathroom if you're on a date, and I want you to take a couple of deep breaths and just try and think through it rationally. Because the beautiful thing about the King of Swords is that he is still rational. And even though those boundaries come from a place of potentially being triggered, there's a rationality behind it that you can kind of unwind for yourself. Are you on a date and did somebody make a comment about not finishing what was on your plate? And even though for that person it was a lighthearted haha comment, you've had past experiences with partners or parents or people in your life who shamed you for that, or who you have issues around eating, and as a result you go to a place, you get super stressed about it, and your boundary comes up. You're like, this person's a jerk and I don't want to have dinner with them anymore, and also I'm gonna leave a bad review for this restaurant on Yelp because I'm mad now. If that resonates for you and you can conceive of a situation where that's something you might do, or you might find yourself in a similar situation, when this happens over the month of September, I want you to walk yourself back a couple of steps. Walk yourself back and try and figure out, where is this coming from? Why am I super activated around this? Is this indeed a red flag? Or am I just responding to something else? Am I re-triggering myself? Am I being triggered by something this person said, even though it was relatively innocuous? And you know what? No one's going to be able to tell you for sure whether it's a reasonable thing to be upset about or an unreasonable thing to be upset about. And frankly, if you're upset, it might not even matter if it's reasonable or unreasonable. But you have to check in with yourself and decide if that level of momentary upset is worth pushing past with the person you're connecting with, or if it's enough of a deal breaker for you to say, no, you know what? I'm the King of Swords. And the wall goes back up. So definitely a lot of super heavy relationship stuff for a lot of you this month, which is not super surprising, as we did just have Venus also shift into Virgo. And when Venus is in Virgo, we kind of reorganize and regroup when it comes to our relationships. We start thinking about how we want to invite more beauty into our lives and how we want to get rid of the stuff that doesn't uplift us and doesn't make us feel good. If you would like to see relationship readings specifically for 2019, please let me know in the comments. It's something I'm thinking about doing. And tell me what you thought. Tell me what you thought of the video, of your reading. Does it resonate for you? Does it make sense? And feel free to go and check me out on Instagram. I do weekly readings there. I often run promos and specials and giveaways for private readings. And I do also have a Patreon account if you would like to check that out as well. It is patreon.com/tarot by Celeste. And I will be starting September awards on the 1st. So if you want to get in on that, you want to sign up before August 31st. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and joining the fun. I'm really hoping to do good things with this channel, to do a lot of historical content and informative videos, some DIY videos, how to read tarot, instructional stuff, all sorts of things going on. But I wanted to start with a pick a card reading because that's who I am and that's what I do. I'm Tarot by Celeste, and enjoy your September. Have a beautiful month, you guys.